So every year, the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa, the FPI, recognizes one planner who stands out, not just for technical skill, but for the way that they live the values of true financial planning. So this year, we are meeting our three finalists. Once again, we do this every year. And I am going to introduce to you Nicola Langridge, as well as Brendan Dunn and Theoniel McDonald a little bit later. Each of them represents a different story, which is really incredible to sort of see the different paths that they are taking, that they have taken, and but they have a shared commitment to doing what is right for clients. In today's episode, we are exploring what it really takes to own your success and to reach this level, the habits, the mindset, and the passion behind all of that. And so whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for a while, I promise you there's a fantastic chance here to learn from people who are really enjoying what they're doing and doing it extremely well. So looking forward to a fantastic episode. Welcome to PROpulsion, the weekly show for financial planners and advisors who want to build better, more successful businesses. I'm your host, Francois du Toit, and every week we dive into the practical strategies that matter, from growing your client base and improving your services, developing yourself and your team. Whether you're running your own practice or you're part of a larger firm, you are guaranteed to find actionable insights to help your business thrive. So with that, welcome, and let's get into today's episode. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lene and everybody else. So let's get into the conversation today. And my first guest is Theoniel McDonald. Theoniel, good morning and welcome to PROpulsion Live.
Good morning, Francois. Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here. Good morning to all the
Fantastic.
listeners as well.
Yeah, and big congratulations on being one of the last three for 2025. You know, if you don't have context, that does sound a little bit like, is it a good thing, is it a bad thing? But this is an absolutely good thing. So looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more. Just very briefly, just tell us a little bit just where you're from, your background, and then I've got some questions I want to ask.
Thank you, Francois. And yes, I was been in Bloemfontein most of my life. I moved to George about 3 years ago, now living in the Garden Route, and I'm really enjoying that. Do a lot of traveling, started in Wealth Associates in 2006, and yes, now been nearly 20 years. It's been an incredible journey.
Awesome stuff. So the first question, so let's get into this and see how many we can get through. You, I know, have spent a considerable amount of time on honing your advice process, not just for you, but for the entire business, right? What are some of the key lessons that journey has taught you about delivering consistent client outcomes? Because I think that's the one thing that everybody's chasing, and particularly in a bigger business, like how do you get that right? But for you personally as well.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I've spent a lot of time on this, Francois, but let me maybe go, let me share one of the latest insights that I've just come to realize. You know, often we spend so much time trying to build a generic process, and the reality, the things that really make advice unique is advisors' ability to actually work from their strengths. That gives authenticity to the advice process. So a person needs to be very careful that you don't try and build a cookie cutter process. What a good process really does is it enables advisors to work from their own strength point of view. So I'd say firstly, that's sort of one of the most important things to keep in mind. But you know, the process is really amazing, because when you start building a blueprint of your advice process, you really pick up all the intricacies in every process and every step. So I mean, we went through about I think it was a 72-step process. And when you see this in front of you, you can actually think about every single step and whether that makes sense. And also you start thinking about the specific tools that you use in every step, or the template that you use in every step. And if you really want to be fancy, then you can build a register where you actually note every single tool and every single template, and you have a date and a version number, the last time that it was reviewed. So that gives you a lot of information. And then thirdly, I think when you go through this process, you can see where every person in the process spends their time, and this is really valuable, because you also see if advisors are spending a lot of time doing administration, and not so much time in front of clients, you know there's something wrong, right? Because you want your advisors to be freed from the administrative process so they actually have more time to spend in front of clients. We all know, that's how long-term relationships, that's how rapport and interpersonal skills and those things become important to build trust. I think the last thing that really stood out going through the process is where we just realized the intricacies between the client acquisition phase and the client retention phase. So those are two really different steps. One of the things that comes to mind is, often you bring youngsters into the business and you want to train them and upskill them and you link them to experienced senior advisors. But what you don't always realize is those experienced senior advisors, they pretty much have built their business and they're looking after established clients. So they're managing relationships, which is very different to young advisors coming in and having to build a business and spending more time in the acquisition phase. So when you start realizing these things, you can plan for it, and you can plan your mentorship and your training and those type of things differently, specifically that you can empower those youngsters through the business.
Yeah, good stuff. Theoniel, also, like, one thing that I definitely find in practice is that, because I typically look at, like, we want to serve everyone, we want to help everybody, et cetera, and there's many reasons for that. But something that comes with that often is that advisors don't really understand the true cost of advice in their business. Like, what does it cost to service a client, right? And you analyzed this and you did a ton of work on this as well. What are some of the things that surprised you most from this, and how did it influence how you approach pricing and clients?
It's actually amazing when you start going down a rabbit hole. Certain things come to light, and how you just learn things. And it's I think Ben mentioned it earlier as well. It's when you get the opportunity to work less in the business and more on the business, and then these things come out. So yes, when it comes to the costing of advice, when you have a mapped process, when you've got a blueprint of your advice process, you can actually link, every person in the process. So, whether it's an administrator, whether it's an ops manager, whether it's a paraplanner or the advisor, and you can link a time to every step in the process. And then obviously you can link a cost element to that. And then you also have the business's overhead, total overhead expenses. So you can link a fixed time to specific time that people spend in the process. Then you get a nice overview of what it actually costs to deliver advice. And when you look at those things, you very often realize that there might be gaps between your value proposition and your pricing model and your remuneration model, and then you can adjust accordingly. So specifically, when you start servicing clients and you start reviewing clients, it's so important that you understand what does it cost you to go through your client appreciation function, your contact points with your clients, the preparation work, the physical meetings that you engage with a client and go through that, because each one of those things actually costs something. And if you don't understand what it costs, you actually have no idea how to price your services. And something that really stood out, the moment that you really understand what it costs you to deliver advice, then you become confident about your value proposition, and you also become confident about the way that you charge your fees. So I think a very important process for everyone to go through.
Brilliant stuff. Theoniel, and then also you often refer to the 6 components of financial planning. And I know we all are very familiar with the 6 steps of financial planning. You refer to components. Probably the same thing. I don't know. You can tell us. But but of those components, like, which one do you see people still, or advisors still, overlook, and why does that really matter for you?
Yeah, so the steps refer to the 6 steps financial planning process: establish and define the professional relationship, gather information, analyze the data, etc., etc. While the 6 components refer to what you should be doing when you're doing a comprehensive financial plan: financial management, risk management, retirement planning, estate planning, then tax planning, and then investment management. So those are the six components. So 2 very different things. So obviously, you've got your 6 steps, and then you use if you want to do a comprehensive plan, you need to consider the 6 components of financial planning. So for me, something that I've actually been quite passionate about, and I've done a lot of research on recently, is financial management. And there's some data that shows that financial management is often the most overlooked component of financial planning, and it's very simple because you deal with clients, potentially high net worth clients. You assume that they are on top of their budget, that they are on top of their debt, that they are on top of their cash flow and their emergency fund and those type of things. Yet very often that is not the case. And so from what I see is financial management is one of the main reasons why really amazing financial plans don't work, is because people don't have those specific things in place. Also, recent data from a longitudinal study in Australia showed that financial management is the one thing that makes a massive impact on mental health. For example, if you're making regular payments towards your debt, towards your short-term debt, you have a plan, and you're only saving a little bit, it already a really big improvement in mental health scores. So the point that I'm trying to make is that, yes, all those other things are really important in your comprehensive financial plan, but don't overlook financial management, because it might just be the thing that makes the biggest difference and the thing that actually really helps your clients to get to implement their plans successfully.
I think we've got time for one more question, Theoniel. So you lead and mentor many others in your business as well, and I guess across the industry. How do you keep the team aligned with high standards and a client-centered culture and all of the things that makes true financial planning so powerful?
I think the obvious thing is, client first principles need to be ingrained in your company's values and, right through the organization. But I think those are the obvious things. I think the less obvious things is, I think you need to appeal to the young people in your industry, because yes, they need to see the importance of those client first principles, but you need to be up to date with what's happening, what's the trends in the industry, so that you can understand what's important to the new generations, and that you can also be in a position that you can mentor and guide and coach them. And I think, just also having really good mentors in my life and coaches in my life, I understand how important it is to be the same thing for the next generation. It's quite difficult to be that if you're not up to date with what's going on in the industry.
Fantastic. Theoniel, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck for Monday evening. It is quite an experience as well. So wishing you all the best. And Maurits was also here. He said hi. So hello, Maurits. And just enjoy today, and we'll probably see you somewhere on Sunday evening around there. So good luck.
See you soon, Francois. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye. All right, fantastic. Next up, I'm going to chat to Nicola Langridge. And Nicola, warm welcome to PROpulsion Live as well.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit where you're from and sort of just a brief introduction, and then I'll get into asking some questions.
I'm from Cape Town, born and bred, and I work for Private Client Holdings in Cape Town, which is a multi-family office, and really excited to be here today.
Amazing stuff. So you talk about, and you care very much about, empowering women. It's one of your sort of focus areas, and it's something that you're very passionate about. And you want to help them to take charge of their finances. So what have you found works best to help them go from anxiety to confidence?
So I am very passionate about working for women and doing seminars where I do education for women, but the principles remain the same, whether it's a man or a woman. I think what's so important at the beginning is to not jump straight into the numbers and balance sheets and spreadsheets at the beginning of a meeting, to truly understand your client and understand their reason for being there and what's keeping them up at night and what their money personality is. Because until you understand that psychological background, you can't really put a structure in place that they're going to be comfortable with. So that's the first point, is making sure you understand the money personality. And then the second point is to follow a very goals-based approach. So what we do is really pull those goals out of clients, asking what do they need to make them feel secure, and what makes them happy, and what gives them joy. And it can be sports and travel and kids' education and their retirement. If you really pull apart those goals and you set specific income streams or investments to every goal and specific timelines and asset allocations, then the plan becomes very clear. You're educating your client, you're making the plan clear, and that instills confidence in them. And it takes all the anxiety out of financial planning because they have a clear picture of what's going forward, and we do it in a way that suits their money personality to make sure that they stick to it.
Yeah, stuff. You also mentioned at the beginning that you are a family office style business at Private Client Holdings, and I'm sort of curious to know, how does that, and does it change the nature of the client conversations and also the depth of the trust that you build with clients?
So it does. I come out of a very medical family, and initially I was actually going to study chiropractic. Well, I did study chiropractic for 2-3 years and went into studying business because I wanted to start this whole holistic wellness center. And then I fell in love with finance and I fell in love with financial planning. So my background comes from a very holistic look at things. So when I landed up in Private Client Holdings, it provided that bridge between looking at things holistically and doing financial planning in a way that really serves our clients. So as advisors, we can't know everything. And with a family office structure, you are sitting at the table with your fiduciary experts in-house, your tax specialist and accounting specialist in-house, your asset manager is in-house. We've got a medical and long-term insurance team. So I don't have to know everything. You go around structuring and understanding your client, but where that very technical advice comes in is pulling in those experts and making sure that what our clients receive is an extremely holistic, well thought of plan that serves them and their family going forward.
Great stuff. And if I've got my research correct, you come from an investment background as well. And I often find when people move from investment into advice, there's sort of, it's almost as if there's deeper meaning behind that. But what was that like for you, and what did it teach you about like the power and the meaning of advice versus just managing somebody's money? Because for me, those are also two very distinct things.
Now, so my time on the asset management side was short. It was about 4 years, initially as an intern in New York, during the credit crunch, working for a credit analyst team of Citigroup as a advisor on credit default swaps. So, I mean, an absolute crazy entry into the financial profession. And after that, working at PSG Asset Management on the pricing team on more the upside. So what it has provided me was a very good technical understanding of how a unit trust structure is actually put in place, how the fees work, what the different components of the fees mean, even performance fees, how they're put together. And what that's helped me is when having those conversations with clients, fees on the financial planning side can be very confusing for clients. And that technical backing that I got from working on the upside in asset management has really given me that edge and being able to explain it to clients with pictures in a way that they understand, which makes clients a lot more comfortable. Because as Theoniel said, we've understood our process, we know what our costings are, but clients don't often understand or see it. And having that technical background has helped me to be able to explain it to clients in a way that makes sense.
So talking about the technical as well, many advisors do struggle to balance the technical advice with empathy. You sort of see this at the different types of conferences and things as well. Certain people are very comfortable with the more on the empathy side of things and opening up and being more vulnerable and getting more involved from that in a conversation from that point of view. Others are like, no, I'm here for the numbers. I'm more comfortable with the logical side of things rather than the emotional side. But how do you sort of balance the two between connecting with clients with heart and then having that empathy and having those deep conversations, but also ensuring that you've got the technical side of it waxed?
I think what has helped is my background, because I came from this holistic health background background and then went into the straight asset management side and then found my way in financial planning. I've got a strong background in both. But it's also, developing that EQ over time as an advisor, thinking how I looked at things 5 or 10 years ago and how I look at things now. You develop a sense of when you really need to focus on the empathy and build that relationship. And then, or reading a client, knowing, some people might want to focus more on the technical side. So I think that comes with time and it comes with experience and mentorship from wealth managers around you or financial planners around you. And I guess the balance is learned over time, but it's important to be empathetic and then also put your foot down when you need to on the technical side to make a client understand when a decision really needs to be made.
Yeah, I just want to ask a quick follow-up question on that. So, how much of the balance I get that you learn through doing, right? Because like you've got to learn, I did too much of this, I did too little of that. So that definitely comes from doing. But is being heavier on the empathy side, or let's say on the psychology or financial planning side, rather than more on the technical side, is that something that you also learned through doing? Is that something that you actually went and did something a little bit more, I won't say formal, but you spend more time learning about that, or did you sort of figure that out, or were you just naturally it was a natural thing for you to be able to do that?
I think partially a natural thing for me. I've always been interested in the psychology of things and why things work a certain way. So the people matter to me a lot. And it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a financial planner or a lawyer. At the end of the day, sitting in front of you is a person. So having to understand and build a relationship with that person is key. So I think part of it is that's just who I am. And no formal training, but I have, read a lot of books. I've gone to a lot of talks. I particularly like following Kim Potgieter. She has some really good ideas on that side of things. So it's part and part.
And my last question. So our theme for the year for this season of PROpulsion is explore. So if you think about exploring like the next stage of your career, regardless of what happens on Monday night, what areas of planning or personal growth excite you the most at the moment?
So any personal growth excites me. My husband always asks me what I'm going to study next. So, down the line, I'd probably want to do another advanced postgrad in fiduciary. But first, I've been working on soft skills. So I've done public speaking courses. I'm busy with a writing course because that's something that doesn't come naturally to me. So, and it's been very interesting to do these short courses and just develop yourself as a person so that you can be the best financial planner for your clients. Because all of these soft skills together helps you to discover parts of yourself to grow as a person. So for me, what's important right now is my clients and doing courses that I feel will enhance my client experience.
Brilliant stuff. Nicola, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Congratulations for being one of the top three this year. Wish you all of the best. I will definitely see you at the convention and the gala evening. And hoping for the best. And we'll chat soon. Thank you so much.
See you soon. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Alrighty, so last but definitely not least is Mr. Brendan Dunn. Brendan, warm welcome to PROpulsion Live.
Oh, thank you so much, Francois. Thank you for having me. Tough act to follow. Those two are incredibly impressive. And it's the one thing I love about this industry. You always have wonderful people you can learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So tell us just a little bit about yourself, Brendan. Just a quick introduction before I jump straight into questions.
So I've been working in financial services, financial planning I'm in my 10th year now. I am executive head Johannesburg and a senior financial advisor at Hewett Wealth in our Joburg office. And I have worked. It's been a very interesting career path. I've worked in Cape Town, I've worked in Pretoria and Johannesburg. So I like to think that I'm a man of the world, and that I have a wide range of experience in working with a wide range of a lot of different people and in different markets.
Brilliant stuff. So talking about like a variety of things, you are not only a certified financial planner professional, you're also a chartered accountant, right? And I guess like something that people might say, and I think I saw a post the other day on LinkedIn where people were asking, why do you put CFP first and CASA after that, etc. But how does that combination shape your approach to holistic financial planning?
Yeah. So coming from an accounting background, when I joined financial planning, I already had a strong technical background, technical grounding, and that included tax, estate planning, financial management, which Theo highlighted so beautifully. So when that was the basis from which I entered this industry, this profession rather, and the CFP, the Certified Financial Planner qualification, it equipped me with so many other essential skill sets and so many other different ways of looking at things. So I try and approach planning from a very holistic and strategic standpoint, and try to factor in, obviously all of the technical is very important, but also the, considering the client's preferences and, really doing a deep dive into their goals and what they want to achieve. So yeah, the planning process for me is very interesting. I like to take my time with it. I like to spend, one plan could take me several days to draft, because I really believe that no stone should be left unturned.
Stuff. You're also very passionate about developing young planners. And I'm going to say this again, like 2 years ago, I think I was a guest at the YFPO, one of their sessions, and Jodri, before the time, we were just having a chat, and she was sharing with me, like, that we were like 18 or 19 people in our study group. And now, like, we've gone through it. We qualified, we got our CFP certification and all of it. And today, only 3 of us are left in practice. It's not to say that they left the industry, or the profession, but they're no longer practicing, which is really, really sad, because you meet these amazing people. They've got so much potential, but yet we don't keep them, right? So what do you believe do they need the most? Skill? Is it mindset? Is it mentorship? Is it something else? Like, what do we do?
Skills, it's borrowing from someone more experienced or more knowledgeable than myself when I say this, but skills can be taught. I think it's very important to have the right mindset, and just to outline a few things there. It's about having a willingness to learn and improve. It's about having the desire to serve others. That's very important, and that needs to be the basis. And when I say serve others, I mean both your colleagues, working in a team environment, as well as obviously your clients. And in terms of mentorship is absolutely key. And I've been very fortunate to work with some wonderfully generous and experienced people, and continue to do so at Hewett Wealth. So I think it's having someone who's able to give you true assurance that even though times are tough, you said that you alluded to, a lot of people drop out of practice, which, I mean, even myself, I had a bit of a break in my planning journey as well. I spent 2 years working in asset management. So I can relate to that, because it is difficult coming up as a young financial planner. But I just want to assure everyone who's walking that path that there will be a breakthrough. There will be, if you keep doing the right things, if you keep learning, if you keep improving, and if you keep serving clients to the best of your ability, that you will succeed. That you will continue to grow. And even there are times where it feels like things just aren't happening, even though you're doing all the right things and things are going great with clients. And but your breakthrough, long-term success will come if you continue to do the right things consistently.
Then I want to ask you a question which I didn't ask the other two. What have you learned from this process? Entering the financial plan of the year, gone through. I know it's a rigorous process. It's a long process. It's a very involved process. But what were maybe the top learning from that, or something where you went like, that alone is worth the price of admission and more.
Yeah, I actually reflected on this before our interview today, how much effort I've put into the preparation of each stage of the process. And it really, I think one of the greatest things that I got from this is the reflection, the self-reflection, as well as reflecting on how we do things, or how I do things, my financial planning philosophy, the causes that are important to me, and what I stand for. And it reinforced so many positive things for me. And I found that by doing the work, I'm a big believer that in order to build confidence and self-belief, you need to put in the work and you need to do the proper preparation in everything. And I think that that's really come to fruition for me this year in this competition. And I would honestly recommend it to anyone. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to learn and to grow. It's not a question of success or failure. You're either learning and improving, or if you're lucky enough and fortunate enough as I have been, you can make it to the final three of this competition, or even win the competition. It's just a wonderful opportunity, Francois, and I think that I've learned that I'm on the right path, and that I'm the way that I do things, the way that my financial planning process, as well as the way that I serve clients, is I take great comfort that I'm moving in the right direction and that I'm doing things the right way, and being able to measure myself against the highest professional standards it's been a fantastic challenge. And I'm so grateful to have made it this far and to have grown and learned as much as I have through this.
Brilliant stuff. I just want to mention, like my mention of the price of admission, there's no cost to enter this. I'm just saying the cost is the time and the effort and the and the energy. That's the cost of admission. So, Brendan, just a final question from me. I think we all love this profession dearly. And if we look to the future, I've got very particular views and opinions, but what gives you the most optimism, and what do you think we still need to overcome, make this really, really great?
I think what gives me the most optimism, listening to Theoniel and Nicola, what gives me great optimism is that we're continuing to learn and evolve as a profession. And I think we're looking beyond the technical, where it's becoming more about people than it is about the technical is always going to be important, but it's becoming more about people than it is about the technical financial planning and the technical aspect. I also recently started engaging more with the YFPO. Was very and meeting so many enthusiastic, young, talented people. That fills me with great optimism. And what I think we need to improve, relating to that, what I think we need to work on as a profession is helping them. I think there are two questions here. The one is, how can we retain the top talent that we attract, and how can we attract more top talent to our profession? Because it's a wonderful profession, and it's deeply impactful, and it's incredibly rewarding, and it's a fantastic long-term career. I've seen it. I'm experiencing it now in my own career. That it's just, how can we? I don't have the answers to these questions. I do have some ideas about it, but I'd be happy to engage with any financial planners. Come chat to me at the convention. Let's chat about it. But how can we retain these young talented professionals and keep them in practice? And how can we attract more? How can we bring through the next generation of financial planning professionals?
Brilliant stuff, Brendan. All the best to you as well. Enjoy it. Don't forget to all of you, don't forget to enjoy it, right? Let me just quickly see everybody's still here. So I'm going to bring them all back. So I just want to say, don't forget to enjoy the convention, okay? Don't forget to enjoy the gala evening. I know it's quite a thing. But it's an amazing just to get to here. And I think the things that you're taking away from this entire process is invaluable. So just once again from us and everybody watching, best of luck. And we look forward to seeing the outcome, obviously, on Monday. So, and obviously, you've got to prepare all your talks and all your things. You don't know if you're going to talk. Anyway, so thank you so much. Well done on everything you do. Really appreciate it. Thank you for spending your time with us here on the show. It's great to meet you all. And not that I know all of you, but most people here probably don't know all of you. But thank you so much. And all the best.
Thanks, Francois. Thanks, everyone.
Looking forward to meeting you guys
next week.
Hey, our profession is in great hands. Fantastic. Ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back next week. Unfortunately, our guest for next week had to withdraw. So I'm going to be on the hunt for somebody to be on the show next week. Watch this space. But nevertheless, we'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Until then, stay safe, be blessed and prosper. And stay curious and continue. Love you lots. See you at the convention maybe. And bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on Propulsion. If you found value in today's episode, then there's plenty more where this came from. You can find all our previous episodes right here on the podcast as well as on our YouTube channel. And talking about the YouTube channel, we go live every single Friday at 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. and we host many different guests, and we also talk about very interesting topics. And on the live show, there's also some incredible segments hosted by some of the most well-known and influential financial planning professionals. So you are most welcome to join us every single Friday. Put it in your diary and we will see you there. And on that note, also please do check out propulsion.co.za/community for all of the goodness and learn more about how you can become part of our amazing community and how that would benefit you, your business and your career. So on that note, stay curious and keep raising the bar.